Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The needs of working families and the middle class, not just the billionaire class. We know what's going on. We are paying attention.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is another weird day. Every day, things keep happening with the United States presidency. It's just weird. I can't keep up. I go to grab news from the cycle. I'm like, oh, that's a good story. There's just too much insanity. The whole Adams family visit to the Vatican there. Well, we're going to get into that. That's just bizarre. In other breaking news, apparently 45 also disclosed a couple nuke subs hanging off the coast to brag to President murderous guy in the Philippines, whose name I'm still working on pronouncing. Markus has it down. Crazy stuff. We've talked about all that stuff. It's really bizarre. How you guys doing today? I don't even know what this is. Wednesday. We're midweek. Wow, what a week. The chaos of confusion is tactic 101 of fascism. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's the fog of war, of revolution war, which is what we're dealing with right now. Look at what's going on with the Seth Rich thing. I'll be 100% honest. I am so absolutely confused as fuck about the whole thing. I don't give a fuck at all, other than the fact that a guy was killed, it seems, but there's just like people are all over the place on all sides. That's a distraction. That whole thing is a distraction, regardless of the sadness of the story and the death. It's a distraction from what's really going on. But the whole thing is the whole hand slapping thing is just sad. You're even talking about that, the Melania hands. Is that what we're talking about, the Melania hand slap thing? Because yeah, that is hilarious. There's videos of that. She just want that, but even that's a distraction, right? Anyway, the cover is just that's going around on the interweb
with all the uncertainty, heartache, despair.
That's Ash's cool intro, guys. I should have turned the audio off on that. Do you realize the hypocrisy here? There's many hypocrisies here. There's so much in this image. But the best way to view this image is not that. The best way to view this image is George Takei. Links in the description, everybody. George Takei really brought it home with this. It's who died? Oh yes, democracy. And that pretty much sums it up. Look at the distance the Pope puts between himself and the people in black.
The black bloc.
Yes. Good morning, Markus. Good morning, Markus. That's just a beautiful way to say it. The Pope does not want to be near them, and he made that very clear. It was very obvious that he is not a fan of Donald Trump. He handed him his 200-page. Whatever they call it, encyclical or whatever they call it, on the climate, Earth. Good morning, Angry Cascadian and Robert and Jeffrey and Trump's your uncle. How you doing? Brussels sprouts? What about Brussels sprouts? I like Brussels sprouts. I make a good Brussels sprouts, actually. You got Jilly Love and Metalhead and Bev and Eco Sutra, Density and Robert. And good morning. Steve Collins, Kat and Jeanette. Dennis, one of my two Germans when I poll actual Germans. Markus, good morning to you. How are you, sir?
I'm good. And good morning to you, John. And as usual, good morning, America. And yeah, Trump at the Vatican, and he didn't burst into flames. Okay, this was one thing which could be expected. Didn't happen. We will see. We will see what the future brings. But the funny is very very funny, and I think they are completely overdressed. They gave a shit when they visited the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and didn't care about anything. And here they are coming completely, in my opinion, completely overdressed. And yes, and you're right. They are looking like the Addams Family.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. There's lots of video clips out there showing the Pope does not have a poker face when it comes to Trump. He definitely, and we were talking about that. Trump doesn't have any kind of a poker face when it comes to diplomacy, right? Or the government. It's basically like he comes to the game and plays with his cards facing the other way. Do I have a good hand? What does it look like? Huh? It's like
I think Trump, if you look at the picture, at the photo, he really likes this moment. And I guess some of his strange advisors will come to him and say that that Pope John was pretty pissed about him. And it had a certain purpose, what he gave to him, and that it was a clear message. I think in this moment, Trump enjoys it just like a kid on a birthday party.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got a big book of words from the Pope. He thinks I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
That's basically, you know. The outfits they're wearing are traditional Vatican misogynist, penis first, put women down, make sure we cover up all their body parts because we're men and we're repressed and we can't handle ourselves. That's like ancient Vatican garb. I have no idea why they chose to do that at all. I don't think the Pope would give a fuck one way or the other. Really about that. He's the guy that came in and said, get rid of all this Trump-looking glitz and gold, if I recall. He's one of the guys that doesn't like that. He's going back to the plain look. We had the plain look before in the church. That was back in the 70s. We went back to a more plain-looking white Jesus, and that evolved back into the more plush Jesus later on. We've gone back and forth in cycles with that whole thing in the church. And now we're back into that cycle. Anyway, a lot going on there. Good morning, Phil, and who else? I just Randy. Good morning, and who's this? Steve Collins, JLB. Good morning, everybody. Katie, how you doing?
And Trump's your uncle. Trump, hey Pope, let's play golf. Can Jesus give me a couple of strokes?
Nice. I'm not even good at. Good one. Okay. The hypocrisy of the whole outfits is they didn't do that in Saudi Arabia. And the article that I was reading about it says, some heads of state choose, right? And there have been other women that have gone there. Didn't mention Merkel. It just talked about some princess or something from some place wearing some elegant, and they described it as an elegant garb, silks, as opposed to black Victorian era funeral outfit that just looks. I mean, there's almost like she's wearing a corset, and the one in the middle. I can't keep. I don't know that I can't keep their names straight. But you were saying that Marcus, you said that Merkel showed up pantsuit and all, right?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty convinced that she didn't come to the Vatican completely overdressed like the Trumps are doing there. And I think it would draw more attention on the German media if she would appear like this at the Vatican than when she came with her usual wear.
Well, I agree. I mean, God. Who's out there that does good Photoshop stuff? Let's put Merkel in the Victorian funeral garb and see what she looks like, because I think that would be a bit scary. Actually, no offense to Angela, total respect, but you would be scary in that outfit. I don't think the Pope want to see anybody like that.
But this proves only that Trump looks ridiculous, but he's a much more dangerous man.
Yes, agreed. And listen, I'm not. You're right. I mean, the church. This is what's difficult about this. I have respect for the Pope. He's a human being, and I prefer the words that come out of his mouth as opposed to previous popes and the majority of other individuals of the church. That doesn't make him okay. He represents one of the most horrific entities on planet Earth that has been oppressing human beings, women in particular, for millennia. You got to put that into perspective. I still have more respect for him than Donald Trump. And it's weird when you have two people who really are just super criminals. One runs a super criminal company. The other one is just a dumb. I saw this in an article. This is the perfect description of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is what stupid people think a smart person would be. That is exactly when a dumb person is like, well, I want my smart person to be tough, and I want him to use big words. And yes, I'm going totally with that accent for absolute stereotypical reasons. But and anyway, it's like when you have two super criminals, but you're counting on one of them to have a higher moral standard than the other, to say, look, we all want to do our bidding, but we need a planet to continue to do that bidding. I don't get people to oppress. You don't get people to oppress. If we kill them all and ourselves on the planet, please read my dissertation on climate change. Let's all work together as evil, oppressive corporations to better ourselves. That's really the message. But when you get it on the news, it's the Pope, the wonderful guy who protects pedophile priests and doesn't put them to trial and hides not to. He's trying to teach Trump that, look, even super criminals need the planet. Okay? I know you just want to rape it and move on like you do with everything else, but we're not ready to move on yet. That's really the message. And the most hilarious thing out of all this, Marcus, did you see the headlines? The new as it comes out, it's like, it was Trump, or Pope trolls Trump with climate change. Then the new headline is Trump wants peace. He's had a change of heart. I don't know when he didn't want peace, but now he's determined to have peace. With
yes, it is no question about wanting peace. It is natural. It is clear. But the question is, what do I do to get peace? Will I bomb the world into pieces, or will I find another way until I found my peace? You know.
Well, I mean, for him, peace means to blow up everything that doesn't want to be peaceful.
Would be the destruction away.
That's when he says the Pope and I want the same thing, peace. What he doesn't say is, and we feel like we can achieve it in the same way.
Exactly.
It's like, yes. I mean, the Pope's trying to do it through fear and intimidation. We're just going at it with bombs. I mean, that's the most direct. Talk about direct action. Be afraid, then die. Just doesn't get any better than that. At least with the Pope, you get chances. You get choices, opportunities, repayments, ways to move up levels in the group. I mean, what have one of the articles? This is... You guys got to remember, I'm a recovering Catholic, so a lot of times I look at this stuff and I look at it. I look at scenes now and I go, wow, I used to think that was like totally normal. I want you to look at this. This is grown men wearing their robes of power, making themselves seem like for some reason they're better than a bunch of other people, mostly white in there. Men. They're all men. This is a fucking penis club.
Oh, wow.
I mean... Just look at that. It's really, there's no difference between that and David Clark putting on Boy Scout pins and plagiarizing thesis. Jeez, I mean, the guy can't get any more of an upstanding patriot. I'm sure he's going to get selected for that Homeland job. They still haven't responded, by the way. He says he's getting the job. Maybe he just plagiarized somebody else's job. What?
I'm sorry.
No, what?
What I think is remarkable is the table scene. This is much more interesting than, of course, the Vatican is penis-oriented because they are the Vatican,
right?
You know. But look at the table scene. Look at the Pope. He's he's a position. He is the leader in this scene. And on the other hand, you have Trump, and this role, he doesn't like this role. He's the role of the apprentice.
Yes. Oh my
He's
gosh.
not the boss. He's not the boss in this situation.
No.
And Pope Francis. Look at how he has his arms and folded on his table. Trump doesn't even dare to touch the table. You know?
No shit.
They are not in a discussion. No.
He looks the same. He looks just like the little boy who was getting schooled, like he did when he was with Merkel.
He looks like his own candidates in his shows.
Oh, please, Pope, fire his ass.
You know.
Well, he was apparently very impressed with the popage. So. You know, that's good. I mean, maybe he'll bond to the Pope. Maybe he needed a real father figure. And how ironic it would be the Pope, and maybe Trump will, teach me, Holy One. And
he is too much alpha male that he would accept a father figure. No.
But he doesn't. Not when he's sitting like that.
I think he's overwhelmed, and he knows about the history of the Vatican, and all this is intimidating for him. But Francis knows all this, and look how he plays it out in this scene. You know?
Oh, I know. Yeah. My guess is, I mean, wouldn't it be funny to hear him like, oh yeah, we told them they had to wear that shit just to fuck with them. We don't really care. We let Merkel come here all the time in pantsuits. Or the Pope's more like, do you think I'd really tell Angela Merkel what to wear? I know, she's a crazy bitch.
I think she's got enough reasonable advisors who will tell her what to wear in these occasions.
Probably. I'm just saying. Like, I had no problem telling Trump and his family, but I don't mess with Angela Merkel. She frightens me. The Pope knows who's boss, just all these figures. And who was it? Tricia Yeager. Are you in the audience, Tricia? You posted something wonderful in Facebook, and it was just a reminder that we and I do this all the time. I put leadership in air quotes, but we shouldn't be calling them our leaders. They're not our fucking leaders. They're employees. They're our representatives. They don't lead shit. They're supposed to take direction, follow our fucking orders, and do our bidding. And yeah, I want them to have a personal opinion in there, but it doesn't get to. It's really, they're supposed to be a mouthpiece. That's what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to listen to our consensus and do what the fuck we say. And when relationships are good, we don't have to be angry about it. That's what it's like with an employer-employee relationship, right? Hi, we pay you to do what we say, not to come up with your own fucking shit. We forget that. They're not leaders. We didn't elect them because we thought they were special. We elected them because they ran. Think about that. All right. That's why it's so important that we run for things and that we fail, because every time we fail, every time we lose an election, we learn how to run better. And that's exactly what these dumb fucks did. How did Lamar Smith end up as the head of the science, space, technology chair in the top level of government? No one he said, I'll do it. And I've been doing this, raising my hand and saying, I'll do it forever. That's it. We elect the dumb fucks we're given. That's, we wonder why they won't do our bidding. We elect the worst employees we can get. Anyway, just thank you, Tricia, for that reminder. Just refocus. And I want to be able to have a conversation with here's the thing. The elected officials that understand that, none of these conversations have to happen. We don't have to have a conversation with Bernie Sanders. He reaffirms that every time he speaks. Janine Calkin, she reaffirms that every time she posted on Facebook. I didn't even grab. One of her bills is headed towards being approved with another bill that was co-written together, and she's making headway. And she understands that when she agreed to be a representative, She stopped being Janine Calkin, producer, technology person who runs a business and does this and that, and said, I'm now going to be a public servant. And she puts forth bills, but those bills are based on the ideas, the consensus around what her constituents want. That's how it works. So she leads in that way. She leads in, oh, you want me to do that? I'll take the initiative and use some resources and do that. I'll do that. That's what you're paying me to do, right? And if I'm not smart enough to do it, I'll go find some people that are or get educated. That's what we're paying them to do. I think, anyway. That's my personal view. I think a lot of them have many different views of that. And then I look over, I love glancing over. What's the first thing you see? The first thing I see is assless boxers. What are we talking about, assless boxers?
What?
Underwear? Thongs? Where are you guys going? I'm all talking serious shit about our representatives. You're talking about butt wear. What are we... What is this? Traditional Arab we went from the traditional clothing of the Vatican to assless boxers. That's how that degraded? That's... I love entropy.
It looks like we need an extra show for detention purposes, John.
All of you, potty minds. You have the minds of sinners, evil. Get those thoughts out of your head. Stroke those thoughts out of your head. Where are you, Trump's your uncle? I shouldn't be taking your joke. Anyway.
Okay. Julie Love cleared it up. What Catholics wear under robes is
priest underwear.
Now it makes sense. Thank you.
My favorite was the Mormon underwear, the special Mormon underwear that they wear. But we'll have to. Do we have any Mormons? Do we have any? Yeah, Mormons dig golden. It's not golden underwear. I don't know what it is. It's got special writing on it. They always have to wear it. It's crazy shit. Anyway, let's not digress too far. Tonight at 7 o'clock, we're going to interview Sam Ronan on We the People, and he's going to talk to us about all the things he's done. He's run for Ohio District 1 Congress twice. This will be the second time coming up, all right? And he ran for DNC chair in 2017, and he started Our Voice, which is a way to unify all of these groups. And we're going to talk to him tonight at 7 about all of that stuff and find out what's going on in Ohio, find out what he needs to run, and how splintered the Democratic Party is going to be at that point. So a lot of good information I think we can get out of Sam tonight. Join us for that 7 p.m. Pacific on We the People. Meet Sam Ronan, candidate for 1st District, Ohio. And I had Ashley Terry's lovely card to show you guys. Here. All the links are in the description of this YouTube event, everybody, so please go there. Please go there. More man, Jill. Nice. That is true about more. Yes, it is. Not about Norman. I don't know anything about Norman's undies, but Mormon undies, absolutely. Jill. That's hilarious. All right, moving on. We talked about Trump trolling by the Pope. We talked a little bit about Trump and his. This is the president of the Philippines, who is basically a thug, murdered a lot of people. This is an article in The Intercept, and you got. I wasn't really aware of what was going on here. All right, in the Philippines, this guy, Duterte. Is that how you pronounce it? Duterte.
Yeah.
Right. He's murdered at least 7,000 people or more. They're just drug users, drug dealers, drug users. That's his answer to the drug problem in the Philippines, just to slaughter. And he encourages homeless people and the poor to be paid or to take up, just go kill drug people. You got nothing better to do? Go kill some drug people. He's psychotic. Trump congratulated him on his great work with the drug war. Right. And then he told him about 2 nuclear submarines we have off the South Korean coast, just hanging out. He says we didn't want to get we don't want to go to nuclear war, but we got some subs there, in case we do. Just unbelievable stupidity. And I can't just, but he's got a following that believes in him. Pretty hardcore. It's really frightening. We're gonna look at a video on that. Edible. Wow, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna read the comment. We talked about the nuclear subs. Here. You guys ready for just 4 minutes and 9 seconds of common sense? We're going to listen to Bernie Sanders rant about the Trump budget. Because we need that. I think we need that right now. Bernie Sanders on Trump's budget.
Okay, thank you all very much for being here to discuss an issue of enormous consequence for the American people. The Trump budget introduced today constitutes a massive transfer of wealth from working families, the elderly, the children, the sick, and the poor to the top 1%. It follows in the footsteps of the Trump-Ryan health care bill, which gives huge tax breaks to the wealthiest few while throwing 24 million Americans off of their health insurance and dramatically raising premiums for older workers. This is a budget which says that if you are the richest family in America, the Walton family, you can get up to a $53 billion tax break through the repeal of the estate tax. $53 billion tax break. But at the same time, it says that if you are a lower income senior citizen, you will not be able to get the one nutritious meal a day you now receive through the Meals on Wheels program or the help you desperately need if you are disabled. This is a budget that says that if you are the second wealthiest family in America, the Koch brothers family, a family that has contributed many hundreds of millions of dollars into the Republican Party, you may get up to a $34 billion tax break. But at the same time, if you are a working class student trying to figure out how you could possibly afford college, your dream of a college education will evaporate because of major cuts to student financial assistance programs. This is a budget which says that if you are a member of the Trump family, you may receive a tax break of up to $4 billion. But if you are a child of a working class family, you could well lose the health insurance you currently have through the Children's Health Insurance Program and massive cuts to Medicaid. At a time when we remain the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all, this budget makes a bad situation worse in terms of health care. In other words, this is a budget that provides massive tax breaks for billionaires and corporate CEOs and massive cuts to programs that tens of millions of struggling Americans depend upon. When Donald Trump campaigned for president, he told the American people that he would be a different type of Republican, that he would take on the political and economics establishment, that he would stand up for working people, that he understood the pain that families all across this country were experiencing. Well, sadly, this budget exposes all of that verbiage for what it really was, just cheap and dishonest campaign rhetoric that was meant to get votes, nothing more than that. At a time when the very rich are already getting much richer, while the middle class continues to shrink, this is a budget for the billionaire class, for Wall Street, for corporate CEOs, and for the wealthiest people in this country. This is a budget which will make it harder for our children to get a decent education, harder for working families to get the health care they desperately need, harder for families to put food on the table, harder to protect our environment, and harder for the elderly to live out their retirement years in dignity. This is a budget that is immoral and that will cause an enormous amount of pain for the most vulnerable people in our nation. This is a budget that will be rejected by the American people and must not see the light of day here in Congress.
And that ended really abruptly. Thanks for that. Bernie, 4 minutes of common sense.
Right. And even Republicans say that this is dead on arrival and it is impossible to pass. And this is good to hear that even some Republicans seem to have some senses together.
It's split the Republican Party. A lot of things are split the Republican Party, but this is horrific. And we have an article to look at on that. I was reading the chat here, guys. I want to back up to something you guys were talking about. And guys are saying that Bernie has not talked about, that we'll talk about election fraud, but hasn't talked about voter fraud, right? We'll talk about the DNC lawsuit. And I actually think that they were on their way to doing that yesterday during the Bernie Sanders show when he had Rick Hassan on. And Rick they started talking about election fraud because that's what the topic was, and that's what this guy's expertise is in, and he transitioned very quickly to actually what we're seeing here is voter fraud, voter suppression, and he points out that the election fraud that they found was actually Trump election fraud. And so, I mean, they were there, but they only got 9 minutes into the program, and then they had issues with broadcast, and they had to can it, and they were like, go find it on the podcast. So if you guys can find a video version of that, that'd be great. I'd run it, but that's I think Bernie was going there. This guy was going to go there, and I hope they recorded the whole interview because, it's Bernie may not be directly addressing it, and he's doing that out of politeness, but he's going to let everybody else talk about it, right? I'm not smart enough to think like Bernie Sanders does in terms of strategy, but y'all got to trust Bernie Sanders in terms of strategy, that he's smart. And he's going to sit back and he's going to continue to talk about the issues. He's not going to take role. He's going to wait till it's just there. And he's in that role. He's already in the leadership role.
And there is no other chance. I can only say it over and over. Of course, Bernie can complain what happened to him and all the cheatings and the election, the primaries were rigged against him. Of course, but it wouldn't change anything. Right. It doesn't make any purpose for him. It is to say it like this. It's a waste of energy.
It is,
and he knows his energy better in the real issues, and this is what he stands for.
Yes, exactly. Well, and actually, in not saying anything about it, he's laid out his strategy to us, and we are applying that strategy. And we are winning roles. We're going to look at that. We flipped 2 reds to blue. All right?
Yes.
Now, one of them, Scott Galindez, is saying, don't get too excited. That's a corporate dem. And he's saying we're talking about 2 resistance, not 2 revolutions. So I don't know. We'll have to look at that. But it's 2 Democrats as opposed to 2 Republicans. I'm going to go win there mostly. And then that gives us 2 Democrats we have better control of. Right. That's really what it is, and if nothing else, fresh meat. Look at it that way. I mean, really, we got rid of some incumbents in there. This is a war. We're looking at every single placement. That's with soldiers on a board. That's really what we're talking about here. If I were Bernie, I would wait and wait and wait. His strategy is to watch us and help cheer us on to take over the roles of government, and we're doing that, right? If he were to right now, understand right now the Republican Party is falling apart. There are Republicans that are very pissed at other Republicans. You have Republicans that still have some kind of sense of morality and ethics. You have Republicans that are getting slammed by their constituents in their towns because their constituents in their towns are all poor or have finally realized that this guy's a dick and is taking everything from them, right? The people that have signed on to the ACA, one guy had to leave his position. Other people are getting, the Republican Party is in a shambles. That whole Tea Party buildup, they built it up to nothing. If there's one thing the Tea Party was, it was not smart. They were good with taking over roles. They had that part down. Show up to meetings, raise your hand, volunteer for things, go knock on doors, spew your shit, take over the government. They had that in spades. What they didn't have was brains. If you remember, the Tea Partiers that were showing up, they weren't the smartest of the bunch. So that infiltrated the GOP. We have that collapsing because that portion is what created the budget we have now and the Trump we have now and the Bannon and all that bullshit, right? The old guard Republicans, the ones that were like, I just wanted to be rich and make sure we stayed that way. I wasn't about really fucking everybody this hard. I just wanted to stay rich, keep it a white people, male first place, and let everybody think it was a land of the free. What happened to that? What happened to that greed? That was a good level of greed, right? And then we went from that level of greed to greedership, just huge, right? Those two factions are now fighting against each other. And you've got a whole nother group that are like, I just want to keep my job, and I got people ready to hang me back home, right? So they're all freaking out. The Democratic Party, Bernie is trying to point out that by his existence, not even in the Democratic Party, he just showed up and went, how about we apply some values to the Democratic Party? And that has exploded this party because it brought an influx of progressives who were ignored, right? It's almost like the Tea Party came in and said, here we are, not equating us Bernie-crats to the Tea Party just in terms of occurrence. We showed up, here we are with our passion, with our energy, and the Democratic Party said, establishment said, great, we're going to use you, we're going to use that passion, and then we're going to ignore you. Thank you. You don't know how to do this game. And Bernie Sanders said, really? Remember what I told you guys? This is your thing. So the more you see the establishment piss you off, the more willing you're going to be to take over that government. Instead of looking to me to change things, instead of looking at Keith Ellison to change things, or Tom Perez, or instead of hoping that this will happen over here, or hoping that Bernie will create another party, or join some one of the goddamn other stupid parties that have been created, you're going to finally go, I can't wait anymore. I'm just going to go run for fucking office. I'm going to go join my Democratic Party or my Green Party, or I'm going to infiltrate the Republican Party. That's what Bernie's waiting for. And the longer he waits, the more we do. It's a brilliant strategy. It really is. It's tough love.
It's the only one which would work in the end. But coming back for a quick moment to the Tea Party, I think the Tea Party has one very important part accomplished, which the progressives and the independents didn't yet. This is a unification and getting organized for a target.
It's our job, though. It's our job, not Bernie's.
Yes, of course. It's not Bernie's job. It is our job as progressive thinking or independents to get the things united. Yep. Just to get our power in one mighty stream, in one, if you want it like this, in one mighty fist. You know. Yep.
Exactly. One mighty fist. Well, really, no.
Yeah, and not many little fingers, which are only tickling the Democrats or the Republicans.
Agreed.
To say it in
well,
pictures.
We're bugging them all over the place. We're a whole bunch of little hands punching the fuck out of them everywhere, all right? But if we unify, it's one big punch. And that's really what we're trying to get here. Deliver one big punch. We delivered Bernie with one big fucking punch because we unified around the guy. Now we need to unify around the issues. To answer your question, Jilly Love, you're saying how much fuckery should we endure? Hang on. How much fuckery should we do? When do we draw the line? Do you have a line, John? Yeah, I have a line. I crossed my line quite some time ago when I became a PCP for my fucking county. That's when the line was crossed for me, when I said, I'm going to get out of this fucking chair. I'm going to leave my garage. I'm going to go engage people in public, which is something I don't want to do at all. I'm going to stop telling people to go do it, and I'm going to get off my fucking ass, and I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to sit there at the meeting and I'm going to be bored. And I'm going to think about how I could improve this so much. And I'm going to force myself to participate. And I'm going to get to know the people. And after 4 weeks, 4 whole weeks, no, it's got to be longer than that. 3 months, 4 meetings, what I meant to say. After 4 meetings, 3.5 months, I have now connected with the executive peoples in the Democratic Party of Lynn County. They have visited my home. They have seen my technology. They've asked me to help them incorporate 21st century communications into the Lynn County Democratic Party. They want me to help them broadcast a weekly show. They want to know how. They're so eager. So these are all people older than me that know the rules of the party. They know how to deal with the processes and how the votes happen and all that boring shit that I don't care about. And they've come to me and said, we'll teach you all that stuff. Help us apply it in the 21st century so that we can bring the millennials into this, so that we can work together, old people and young people, to really turn this party into something that doesn't suck balls. They are so open. And they asked one thing of me, please be patient. I said, okay. And I said, thanks for listening. Let's get to work. Okay. So, yeah, my line was crossed. And I said, enough.
Yeah, I remember the movie. I think it was Network, with the guy in the TV studio who wanted all the people who were watching the show on the TV screens to open the windows and shout, "I'm fed up with this."
Yes.
And this is one step beyond. This is a step from after shouting, "I'm fed up with this," and going into politics. Caring, if you want things running, you got to care about them for yourself.
Yes, and listen, I got lucky, okay, because I don't live in Iowa. I don't live in some seriously red, effed up area. I couldn't imagine. I mean, that's got to be even harder. One of the. Yeah. And thanks, Julie. Thank you, Julie Love. I appreciate that.
And I think it is possible that in many countries, not countries, in many states or in many places, it is impossible to work together with the now existing Democratic Party. So it doesn't matter. Go out, go to an independent party, go to the Green Party. Look for a method. Look for something to get engaged.
Because it really doesn't matter what party. What matters in the end is how we get people to vote, right? That's I mean, there's two different things here, and that's why we don't have to worry about such a rigid concept of unity or a rigid concept of purity around all of this. It's basically there are different groups, each of which might be more passionate about certain things. In the end, the goal is awareness of the populace so that they will vote correctly. Right now, the other things, the things that started this whole conversation that we're talking about. I chose the Dem Party. Okay, I chose the Dem Party because I live in a red county, and because I'm a registered Democrat, which makes it easy for me. All right, that's really it. And I'm a pragmatist. So for me, I wanted to work with the most resources available, and I'm also a wimp. I didn't feel like going behind the enemy lines and becoming a Republican. I'm like, nah, I can't do that. I just can't fucking do that. So I chose the middle ground, all right? But we're talking about other things here. We're talking about things that you guys are saying these are roadblocks to achieving this, and that would be the election fraud, right? Voter suppression, voter fraud. I always get the election and the voter fraud mixed up because it all exists, okay? The corruption within our primary process, let's just boil it down to that. The corruption that exists in our primary process that makes us feel and makes us believe that is impossible to win because we can't control the outcome, because the outcome isn't honest. Right? That's not the case in all the places. We know this. In fact, we saw many cases during Bernie's primary where he won in states despite the corruption, despite the fuckery, even with rigged stuff that we knew was going on because we had numbers. Remember, the actual number of voting population in the United States is shit. It's shit. Just absolute shit. The number of Democrats that voted out of the number that were registered in my county alone was like 13%. That's shit. That's terrible. And so I'm telling you this for two reasons. One, we have a problem of corruption in our government. The only way to fix that problem is to replace the people in government. Yeah, that is a problem when the process can often be corrupted. The process which allows us to replace people, that makes it more difficult to replace, but it does not make it impossible. So to say it cannot be done is to deny that it has happened many, many, many times. It just happened twice yesterday. All right? And that's why it's so important to focus on local, because we can win race by race. We can win city by city and state by state when we focus our energy into one big punch instead of a little bunch of pokes. Right? That's the strategy. Find the target, mass the troops, mount the attack, win the goddamn race. That is exactly what the Tea Party did to take over the GOP. It's exactly what we have to do now. We are doing right now to take over the fucking Democratic Party. Change its name, kick out all the old asshole fucks that are just establishment tools like Feinstein and Pelosi and Schumer, and just we can't those races like Stephen Jaffe going against Pelosi. I mean, odds are, I don't know what the odds are. That's the thing. Last year, I would have said his odds are shit. This year, his odds are great. What it depends on is how much awareness. It's all about awareness. How much information can Jaffe get out to the voting populace to get them to vote for him? And that's all information. That's all strategy of on-the-ground work. So to bring it all around, when you guys say, well, we can't beat the corruption in the rigged system, we can't beat it when they hide votes or suppress votes, or how do we fight against that? We fight against that by pulling the numbers, the massive numbers of voters that don't vote out. I mean, we haven't even come close to tapping a small percentage of the actual voting populace available in the United States of America. That's what it takes. That's the strategy. It's a boring strategy, but that's what it takes. It's a really it's like knowing that you're going to have to wash dishes for 5 fucking years straight. Just wash and wash and wash. It's the same thing over and over again. But that's how you win.
And there comes in mind that Bernie is a long-distance runner.
Yeah.
Right?
Bernie been washing them dishes for more than 30 years. He's bored out of his fucking mind. I pick washing dishes because that's the thing that I do the most here as the housekeeper. We don't have a dishwasher and we don't have a garbage disposal. It's an old kitchen. I do all the dishes, and I do a lot of dishes. And sometimes I really detest doing the fucking dishes. If I don't do the dishes, then, right, grow the fuck up. More like 5 years of shoveling manure. Yes, Melissa, exactly right, because of Bullshit Mountain. That is, we are taking down Bullshit Mountain one shovel at a time. It's a big mountain.
Yeah. And very smelly.
That's it. And Phil Britton, the Senate is you're right. The Senate is the prize in the state, right? Because they seem to have the most power as a body at the state level and at the federal level. Really, we control that. We control a lot of power there, and those are the positions that are the most difficult to replace. Those are the positions that have put in right now. Those are like you think of a chessboard, right? Those are your big pieces back. There's the bishop and the castle. Those are big pieces back there, right? We're starting off with a bunch of pawns. Like, I'm not even a pawn. I'm a dude helping a pawn, right? We got a lot of work to go. I think one of the advantages, I was going to say this, one of the advantages the Tea Party had was lack of just like they just went into it with blind, we just got to do this. For them, washing dishes was just fine for 5 years. Just like, whatever, it's a job. I'm just saying, you know, take down BS mountain by pointing it out at your local level. Exactly, Real Jingy. And then take that job. I'm after looking at the special election ballot, I'm so mad at myself for not just running for one of those damn spots. I would have learned something. I would have. It would have taken me an hour out of my day to pay the $14, fill out the form, and now that I've seen what other people have done, I'm like, oh, it's basically a resume. It's a 2-page resume. You write a 1-page cover letter, and then you fill out some basic information about yourself, and you pay $14. And if you really want to have a chance at winning, you go around and knock on a few doors. You do some things. That's how it starts. That's the hard effort right there, though, is getting off your ass and going, now I got to go do this shit. Yeah. Anyway. What are we saying? Who's got some points up here? Jilly Love. Oh, we're going to talk about that speech. That's what I saw, Jilly Love. We're going to get into that. I'm just rambling on about other stuff. Actually, that's the next thing, is the speech. That's the next thing. Did I even mention the Jeff Merkley thing yet? Shit. Did I talk about that?
I don't know if you talked about this during the show or earlier right now. You said that there is a debate interview or something like this.
Yeah, I'm so bad, you guys. Here, later on today, I was supposed to talk about this. I'm so bad. I don't know if I'm gonna restream this or not. I might. Jeff Merkley, who's one of our senators, Oregon, he's one of our guys with power, and luckily he's a Bernie Krat. He was one of the few that actually endorsed Bernie. He's trying to get marijuana legalized. I like Merkley. He's a good guy. I haven't had any reason yet to distrust him. Let me know, guys. He's doing a live Facebook Q&A at 1:30 p.m. today. I may restream on the YouTubes just so we can have a conversation about it. He's got, you can ask him a question, Facebook Live at merkley.senate.gov. And, yeah, I think that's cool. I think it's really good that he's going to do that. He's going to answer your questions on Trump Care. I don't have any questions about it. I mean, it's a pile of shit. I just want to he knows it's a pile of shit. He's going to do what he needs to do about it. That's all it really is.
And this should be his answer to this question, you know?
Right. Let me make this really quick. It sucks. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, there's no point of discussion about nothing.
The problem is that a lot of people in Oregon, there was a lot of Oregonians that were covered under Obamacare. And so you got a lot of people who stand to lose their coverage. And that's probably what the questions are on. If I had insurance at all, if I had managed to get myself on an Obamacare plan, I would be freaking out right now. You know? As long as MSM is on cable, we will have fact-free news. There are laws that we can... That's not true. That's not true, actually. No, I mean, let's just clarify. We used to have standards in our government that forbid news from lying. Believe it or not. There are actually other nations, I believe, that have some standards like this. I don't know, maybe not. I'd call on the Germans, but they let MSM say bullshit over there too, so I don't know. And they let them show boobies any time of the day. They're just horrific people over there, totally not, Anyway.
Yeah.
And they say cuss words. It's terrible. At least we got those kind of standards over here. No. Understand this. When television was first emerging, radio and television era, 1930s, 1940s, we had the Fairness Doctrine. And the Fairness Doctrine was an agreement between the federal government, who owned the airwaves over the United States of America for national security, right? And we had broadcasters We're like, we want to be able to broadcast our stuff across these airwaves and the radio waves. And can we do that? And the federal government said, we will allow you to use these airwaves if you promise to not lie, be fair and balanced with your information, provide point counterpoint, basically. Don't just provide a one-sided narrative. And you have to actually spend, I think it was in the document, it said 1 hour, might have been a week, might have been a night, I don't remember what the was, but it was 1 hour, providing the American public with news and information of value to the American public. It's your responsibility to inform the electorate for at least an hour if you're going to use these airwaves. And you have to do it truthfully, and you have to do it in an unbiased fashion. Those were the rules. We got rid of those rules in 1986. And it was the very simple statement that we feel like the networks can regulate themselves on this. And why should they be restricted by something like this? And airwaves is silly anyway because we're moving beyond that to cable networks. That was the reasoning. And the moment that happened, news agencies were no longer bound by those laws. Fox News was the first news agency to coin the phrase entertainment news in relation to basically a news story where they lied. And the farmers said, you lied, and we're going to sue you. And Fox News says, you can't sue us. That was entertainment news. We embellished the story for ratings. So, wasn't news. We weren't informing the electorate. No fair and balanced doctrine. Nothing to hold them to it. The whole point of that is we can enact laws when we control our government again that tell news stations, MSNBC, ABC, all of them, that if you're caught lying, you're going to be fined $1 billion, $1 million, $1 trillion, or we're going to shut you fucking down, or we're going to have federal agents sit in there and make sure you're telling the truth. We can do whatever the fuck we want when we control the government at that level, and we can do the same at the state level. At the state level, we can bind our news agencies to reporting. And of course, they'll go to the federal level, Supreme Court, to argue against it. And once we start that battle, and we start that battle in numerous states, it becomes a talking point that eventually goes to the federal government, just like the Fight for 15. Just like LGBTQ rights. Just like every other thing we wanted to get pushed around here. That's how it works. Yes, Marcus?
Yeah, and this deregulation of the media, which came up in the late 60s, it was a sad blueprint of what happened later with the banks and the financial markets.
Yep. Exactly. Throw out your TVs. No, just demand better. We own a country. You want to put it in capitalistic terms, we all timeshare this country. We own all of its resources. We own all of its people that we have work for us. And the news agencies could be bound by whatever damn laws we want to fucking enforce. You will provide us with 5 hours of advertiser-free news. Fuck you and your ratings. We could say whatever we want. It's our country. We got to stop acting like it's not. We're smarter than the old fucks that control it right now. All of us, collectively. Old meaning in thinking, right? Because, oddly enough, most of the old people that I've met here are really young thinkers, and they're the ones that really want to engage 21st century style in democracy, like Bernie. It's really awesome to see. Here's I don't have we're going to talk about the Confederate, the speech. New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu bids Confederate monuments good riddance. There's a 20-minute speech, 24-minute speech this guy did, and it's being talked about as historic in terms of its point. We're going to run this brief clip, just 2 minutes and 2 seconds from Fusion right here. But you can click on the link. There's a link to the full article. This is in New Orleans. Because, a lot of cities right now, in an effort to recognize that racism should be gone from the United States by now, it's a big problem there. There are a lot of these Confederate statues coming down And there's a lot of white supremacist assholes that are coming out saying, that's a part of history and you shouldn't tear it down. Let me ask Markus this. What did you guys do with all your Nazi monuments and shit? Did you leave any of them up there?
It wasn't our choice because it was either the Russians or the Americans or the British. They used dynamite to blow things up, and a lot of pieces went to America or to other places as a little reminder of the time in Germany after World War II, and unbelievable, fantastic amount of original Adolf Hitler hats is now in the US. I learned,
Wow.
because so many GIs met on the black markets, the kids, and every kids had a lot of original Adolf Hitler hats to offer, And,
That's like the pieces of the cross. I met a priest back in the 80s that was so proud of his little piece of the cross, and I don't even know where he got his justification to that. It was like said, it came from Jerusalem and there's it dated back to the era of Jesus or something like really? Are you fucking kidding me? That's anyway, Boy, little kids and their memorabilia.
We can back to the Crusades when we were talking about this.
Yes. So let's listen to this. Maybe something that on a streamathon we just run the whole thing.
Statues are not just stone and metal. They're not just innocent remembrances of a benign history. These monuments celebrate a fictional sanitized Confederacy, ignoring the death, ignoring the enslavement, ignoring the terror that it actually stood for. And after the Civil War, these monuments were part of that terrorism, as much as burning a cross on someone's lawn. They were erected purposefully to send a strong message to all who walked in the shadows about who was still in charge in this city. This is not about a naive quest to solve all of our problems at once. This is, however, about showing the whole world that we as a city, that we as a people are able to acknowledge, to understand, to reconcile, and more importantly, choose a better future for ourselves, making straight what has been crooked and making right what was wrong. This is not just about statutes, this is about attitudes, and it's about behaviors as well. If we take down these statutes and don't change to become a more open and inclusive society, then all of this would have been in vain. Let us again state clearly for all to hear. The Confederacy was on the wrong side of history and humanity. It sought to tear apart our nation and subjugate our fellow Americans to slavery. This is a history we should never forget, and one that we should never, ever again put on a pedestal to be revered. As a community, we must recognize the significance of removing New Orleans Confederate monuments. It is our acknowledgement that now is a time to take stock of and then move past a painful part of our history. Anything less would render generations of courageous struggle and soul-searching a truly lost cause. Otherwise, we will continue to pay a price with discord, with division, and, violence.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That was impressive. That was well done.
It was. And a lot of courage, but a clear message. And I only can support this.
I know, and that was, holy shit, that was just excerpts. I mean, they were cutting a lot of spaces in there. So the whole thing, 24 minutes. Maybe we'll just run that on the next long event we have going on. Just run the whole thing. That would be great. I know, Jilly Love. We think about the things we've destroyed. Yeah. That guy has a future in progressive politics there. As long as he stays on the side of right. I just have this in here. Just ex-CIA operative, we may need a new vote. This guy's talking about vote where Hillary would be involved, and I'm just like, I don't know how you go there. I just wanted to, the links in the, I'm not even going to bring it up because it's so terrible. How would that work if we had a new vote? If for some reason our government decided that the Russian involvement in our election caused a fraudulent election, nothing else, and that they needed to do a revote, how in the world would you do? I don't even know where it would go. I say blow that off. Don't even pursue that. Just leave things the way they are. It's in a much better state. The Democratic Party could not piece itself back together if they were to somehow win the election. That would not happen. No. Nah. Anyway. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is where Scott was said the resistance shows its real after flipping a state seat. No Democrat has ever won it in New Hampshire. So this is Edie de Moray. I guess that's how you pronounce her name. But Scott's a little concerned with that. I don't know if you guys know anything about her and where she stands on things as far as an actual Democrat, or if she's just an establishment tool. There's another win that we had. I have to find it. Where'd it go? There's a couple other wins. No, I can't find it. The other. No, I can't remember the other girl's name. Christine something or another. She is a Bernie-crat, supposedly, that won in another seat. Those are the two that we flipped, and I thought I had the link in here to pull that up, and I don't. What do you guys think about those two wins? You know? We flipped a seat. That's good. They're in power for a while. Those are the power seats that we need. But what if one of them is a corporate Democrat? I think it's up to us. It's up to us to control that tool. And if that tool is going to be more difficult to control, then all right, we get rid of that tool next time. The Republican Party. What, Marcus?
But the good thing is it gives pressure on the Republicans on the other side. Apart from who for the Democratic really won, and most importantly, in my opinion, would be the pressure on the Republicans, seeing that they are losing elections and states, and because of Trump, because of the irrational policy, and this will go on and divide the Republicans more and more. Exactly.
It leaves them freaked out. It helps us. Tuesday, here's one of those examples. This guy, Tuesday Group Chair MacArthur resigns amid health deal fallout. His moderate Republican chair, and they're like, you're not a moderate Republican, dude, because you voted for the GOP healthcare bill. And so he resigned. So that tells you something. There's actually some moderate Republicans left. I'm not really sure where they stand, because that would be hard right, actually, to the rest of the world. A moderate Republican in this country, because we have no left, really. We're trying to bring back a left, right? So that's Republican fallout right there. Remember that Carrier plant that Trump saved? They're about to lay off a bunch of jobs. This is an update on that. They're going to lay off. Let's see, that Carrier factory that Trump convinced owners not to move to Mexico will lay off hundreds of workers just before the holiday season. CNN reported on Tuesday. It's not even, it's just a bunch of bullshit. Trump took credit for saving 1,100 jobs. Looks like they're going to get rid of about that many. About 600, about 700, 890 jobs. That's nice. So he saved, what, a couple hundred? That's what he does every time he saves a pipeline. He saves a couple hundred jobs, maybe not even that, and makes a lot of people a lot of money. And we picked a progressive. The Progressive Caucus picked a new leader. This guy. This is good news. There's a lot of shifting going around. Liberal Democrats on Tuesday elected Rep. Mark Pocan. He's a Democrat, Wisconsin, to replace Keith Ellison. Now, I don't know where this guy stands. Right? Keith moved up to take that bullshit position with the DNC, which really means nothing, and the DNC really means nothing at the top level right now. The only Democrat in the DNC is those of us at the local level. Just ignore what's going on at the top. Bernie's not a Democrat. Just keep that in your head all the time. Bernie's not there. How do you know when we've won? When we've taken over enough control statewide that Bernie is interested in being a Democrat. How about that for a goal? How about instead of trying to entice him to another party, we make the party something he actually wants to be a part of? Just a flip there. Just a thought. when you're, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you headhunt, when you work for a big company and you're looking to get somebody who's really badass, you don't whine and bitch at them to come over to something that really has no appeal. You know, hey, why don't you leave that and come over here to something we just started that has absolutely no resources whatsoever? Bernie's like, why don't you take all the resources out of this party and ask me again? Just saying. I'm going to show you two. Just so you know, here's another reason why we have to take over the party and grow the voter base. It's because we will not be changing the Trump voter base all that much. This is an AJ Plus video with what people think about Trump so far, days 110 or whatever. This is really frightening.
I give Trump an A plus. I think he's doing great.
I voted for Trump and I'm giving him an A so far. I think he's trying to do what he can.
I voted for Trump. I'd give him an A.
I did vote for Trump, and I would say, as far as I'd give him an A. Everything he said he wants to do, he's been doing.
I give him between a B and a C right now. I know it's kind of hard to tell all the good things that he is doing because the media downplays it.
I would still keep him at a B minus. The only trouble I've seen with him is that I believe he needs a team of advisors to aid him with making better decisions.
I did vote for Trump. Right now, I think he's about 110 days in office. And I would give him I'll give him a solid B.
For Obamacare, I had an employer that paid me overtime, which was the backbone of my pay, that immediately got switched over to an employer that was afraid to give me more than 26 hours a week.
I'd like to see everybody have an option to be covered, but I don't think that I should have to pay out the ear and somebody that doesn't do anything gets everything for free, and my kids don't get anything covered.
As far as repeal and replace, where it's going to be affordable for everybody. Everybody has to be able to has that chance to, as far as get the insurance they need for themselves and their families.
The repeal and replace is just the first step to get rid of Obamacare, so I'm all for it. And then I know that it'll take some other actions to fully replace it, but I think they're on the right track.
No, I didn't like Obamacare. I didn't like Obama, period.
That might be one of the saddest things I've ever played on this show. That's a lot of ignorant folks. A lot of ignorant folks.
It's the Trump tribe.
Yep. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect group.
Yeah. And it is incredible, but it is for us to see and to hear what they are saying. The last guy, I think he was a clear racist, but apart from this, it says a lot about their reality channels, you know, how they view things. It is all a big conspiracy of the media against Trump, and they make him look bad.
Yep.
Is not touchable yet. Let's wait and see.
And unfortunately, that's really where it has to go. I talk about this a lot, and I talk about karma, climate karma, whatever it is, and I don't mean to be vindictive. I mean, okay, maybe sometimes, but I mean it's really not about being mean or anything. It's just saying this is natural selection, civilization style, basically, because unfortunately, a lot of those Trump voters are the poor that are being devastated by climate change or by his healthcare changes or their other changes. I mean, that's the sad thing, is they don't recognize that they have caused their own demise faster, you know? And I guess in a way, as a progressive who's really ready to just get this thing moving towards a 21st century government that actually works for the people and is more interested in science than bombs, I'm all for natural selection, taking out as many Trump supporters as possible. I'm all for it. And I don't mean that, again, I don't mean that in a mean way. It's like if you're really going to choose, they choose ignorance. If you're going to choose not to look at the truth, if you're going to choose to be uneducated, even when somebody's like, hi, could I show you? Could I hand you some, would you be interested in having a discussion? Could I teach you something? You teach me about how you shoot a gun and I'll teach you about how government possibly functions. Something like that. I don't know. But they don't want that. They don't want it. There's parables in the Bible and other ancient mystical books about that kind of thing when people are ignorant or choose ignorance and what happens to them. And it's just so... That's what's going to happen, one way or the other. It's just going to be really weird. And we have to... Marcus, yes?
You got to see it like this. The ignorance is the only thing those people have, And if you take this away, then there's nothing left.
I know. And you guys are saying that it's that we all believe in this together. The more you tell us we're wrong, the more we're going to stick together because we don't want to admit that we're dumb. Right,
and he's our guy. He's the white guy.
Right,
the white guy will care for us.
Yeah, and you guys are saying it'll be civil war, possibly. But think about that. Like they're not going to be in the best shape. They'll have lots of guns and bullets, but like they're not in the best of health. Really, I mean they're going to be flooded. Climate change will be hitting them. How many people you think are going to be able to rise up in that militia once Tornado Alley plows through? It's going to be sad. This is what you meant last Saturday, John. Now I have to go. Dennis is saying this is what he meant last Saturday. You remember him talking about this last Saturday?
No, last Saturday is quite a while ago.
Shit, yeah, I don't remember yesterday or this morning, really. Are we all on board with Draft Bernie yet? No, Robert. I am not on board with Draft Bernie. About 5 minutes ago, I said why.
It makes us. Bernie says clearly that he is in the Democratic Party right now, and as long as he doesn't change his mind, there is no Draft Bernie. It's dead.
Yeah. What do you say, Jeffrey Pearson, proud snow? Oh yeah, the snowflakes. Trump people like to call liberals snowflakes because we have empathy and compassion for things that are alive. That's basically how they turn it. It's like, oh, because you are empathetic and compassionate and have some sense of a moral standard and don't want to beat the fuck out of everybody, you're a snowflake. They equate feelings with weakness, which is a very standard tactic, usually used by young boys who are learning how to be bullies, right? That's one of the big things going on here. We either evolve to this outwardly compassionate society that is transparent and understands that, we can all live together in harmony, or we fall back into knuckle dragger state. And a lot of people, they're not evolved. If you don't have your basic needs met, it's really difficult to want to have compassion or empathy for anybody else. That's where so many of these people are, It's really where it is. And just one more example of Trumpness. This is when your racism just says, "Oh, he can show up now." It's an angry white man complaining that he didn't get the seat he wanted. And so he decided that he was entitled. He said, "I can take these 3 seats because I want to, because literally just the old man wearing his Make America Great hat on. You can't make this shit up. It's almost like, an episode of Punk'd or, something that a comic would do, would send a grumpy old man wearing a hat onto a plane to cause commotion. No, this is real. These are people that are so intent on living in their fantasy world where they actually are better than other people that they treat the rest of reality that way. On a plane, of all the dumb places to do it, too. You're stuck on a plane, and everybody on that fucking plane is stuck there with you, and they all hate you now. Why would you do that? I don't even get that. Anyway, they were shouting, they booted him off the plane and shouted, "Lock him up," which I thought was nice. And it's another example of when you band together, you're more powerful. One angry old white man versus one person might be an even or scary battle. One angry old white man versus a plane full of other people, angry old white man gets his ass booted off the plane. That's how that works. Wonder what would have happened if it had been United. That would have been really interesting. Poor United. They had an engine catch fire on the runway. Not that I give a fuck about their corporation. It's a corporation. But things just seem to keep happening. Karma? I don't know. Can corporations have karma, Marcus?
Bad.
Bad karma? Just bad.
Nothing more to add.
Robert Davis says Democrats will never win. I remember a lot of people said that about the Tea Party too. Cops are KKK. Yes, Julie Love, they are. There's a lot of them that are. That's very sad. But remember, we ran that clip yesterday of a group of cops that are not, right? There are good ones.
Yeah.
There are good ones here and there.
The trained ones.
The trained ones.
You see, yeah, how easy it can be, and how much the budget saves for bullets now.
Yep. Yep. It's amazing when you invest. All it really is money. It's where our money goes. And our government money goes into one big sinkhole. And actually now it goes into two sinkholes. I didn't even grab the article. It was about, oh my gosh, it was about Trump and his money. Unbelievable. So you remember at the beginning, he's supposed to divest himself, separate himself from his money, and he really didn't. And then they made up some bullshit about, well, it's okay, and it really isn't. And then they got over that because he was doing so many more horrible things that was just like, whatever. We can't even think about what's going on with the money right now. The fact that he's basically extorting the United States of America, taking money from foreign nations. It's funneling right to Mar-a-Lago. It's like, we can't. That's small compared to the other national security threats he's causing and things he's doing around the world to embarrass the United States on a daily basis, right? And so he moved beyond that. Then they said, well, what we'll do, his answer was, I'll give all the money to the Treasury Department that comes from foreign people. That way it'll be fair. I don't even understand how that would work, why that's even fair. Why are we taking money directly from foreign governments through the President of the United States to be put in the Treasury Department? Isn't that still a fucking favor? Isn't that still... Doesn't matter where the money goes. It's not like you and me get it. It's not like, hey, Trump just got $1 billion from China. Let's divvy that up. That's not what happens. So who gives a shit? Well, the whole compromise there was supposed to be that they were going to separate the funds so that we would know these were foreign funds and therefore not, influencing the president's decisions because it's not going to Mar-a-Lago, it's going over here. That was the whole reasoning. He's still taking money directly from people, going directly to his fucking business. And he's a public servant working for us, taking our paycheck, which so far I think he's given one to the Forest Service as a token fuck you. Right? So he's getting double paid, taking money from foreign interests. He just said, they made an announcement today. He said, I'm sorry, we're not able to separate those monies between the foreign and the... It's just too difficult for us. We're not going to do that. That's...
No, they said it's unpractical.
Impractical. It's impractical. It's impractical. Just for fun... Where would this be in Germany? Merkel has a business making chemicals, and she's going to keep the money and take state pay.
Yeah, it should be better. It stays undercover, you know.
If he just said quiet about it.
Otherwise, she would have to face the consequences, and depending on what chemicals you are referring to, it could end with a visit in jail. You know, it is not that I think that Angela Merkel is cooking meth or something at home in her kitchen together with her husband. No.
Merkel Breaking Bad.
This is not real.
Oh, there's another Photoshop. No. What I meant was, no, I just meant, she was. I picked chemicals because she was a chemist of some kind, quantum chemistry or something. So I don't even know what you mean.
Anybody who would run a business here in Germany and would tell our Finanzamt, our tax institutions that it would be impractical to follow their taxing rules, they would say, okay, sir, so you are not allowed to run a business any longer.
Right. Be done. And that's what everybody else had to do. Jimmy Carter sell his peanut farm, right? With divest from that, give it to us. I mean, anyway. Now that money, it's impractical to separate those funds. So our government is just the one thing Trump has done very well is make the business model of our government wholly transparent to the citizens. Think about that. We now understand how our government funnels money, how it launders money, where that money comes from, where that money really goes. Most of it goes to war, fossil fuel industry, and our politicians' pockets. It's just a big cycling wheel. And the politicians, they get jobs in politics. Then if they're fired, they move out to jobs in lobbying. And if they can't do that, they move to jobs as pundits. And when they can't do that anymore, they go back into politics. And they just cycle through this fucking sick, or they go become an executive at one of these companies, get a golden parachute, come back out, jump back into the system. This is the rings. And as long as you're willing to stay in the club, you will always have money. You will always have a job. That's what it is. That's why it's so powerful. Because it's so easy just to bring people in, make them a member of the club, give them a few treats. What a dealer does when they bring on a new addict, right? First one's on me. It's totally what our government is. Well, isn't the Pope a chemist? Yeah, the Pope's got a degree in that too. Not that he would. I mean, I don't even gonna go there. Yes, most other people are smarter than our president. Let's just go there. All right, most other presidents. Yes, John, but the average Trumper does not see this. I know. They don't. I understand that. I know. What do we do? Jeanette, oh Lord, the very idea of Angela Merkel on meth. Marcus was saying, and I actually thought this was cool. Marcus, you want to talk about, just tell everybody what you were saying. Holy shit, it's noon again. God damn. Fucking time. Tell everybody what we were saying about Merkel when she first came into office and as a woman and the image she had to present.
Yes, she was quite young for a job in office, and the Bundeskanzler Helmut Kohl, the Chancellor of the reunification of Germany, referred to her as "my girl," and this shows his view on Merkel. He didn't take her serious, and this was the role he had to fight long years against. And all this changed when there was no other choice than her, due to a big scandal here in Germany around Helmut Kohl and all other possible candidates, and she was the only possible reason for the CDU, the conservatives, to go on, and so that was why she was voted as a candidate for Bundeskanzler. And during the years, she knew exactly how it feels to get bullied by men, and this is why her close circle consists only of women, and she is full of mistrust against certain parts of the media and other politicians, and this is why she has this poker face and normally doesn't show any emotions. And the Trump incident was. Well, yeah, it was an exception, you know. And,
How could you not laugh? She was like, "Oh my God, I met him. Holy shit!" You know.
Yeah, and,
it's like the Trump, it's like Pope's face.
Angela Merkel, as many journalists who who have to do with her on a daily basis tell that she must have a real good sense of humor, very dry humor, and and she is not that stone-like as she often might appear on TV or so, you know.
Right. I mean, she presented that image because she had to, because she was faced with a bunch of dickhead men who were not treating her as an equal. She's
Yes.
like, fine. I can look and act like a dick too. You know, that's basically what she had to do. And you know.
And you know, I'm no fan of her, but it is impressive to see that she is a woman who can deal with those bullies. She proved this with Silvio Berlusconi, the former minister president of Italy, and it was quite funny to see how she did it, and and Berlusconi finally had to agree to her plans around, I think it was around a climate change plan. And it is reported he came to Merkel and said, Mrs. Merkel, is today the day I have to give up, because he opposed to these plans before. And she said, yes, it is the time now.
Wow. Well,
she knows how to deal with those guys. And this is one of the few reasons I can only repeat myself again. I'm no fan of Angela Merkel, of her policies in many cases, but in this world situation, I would like to see her again in office in September.
Yeah, she can come be our president anytime. That's fine. Can we borrow her? Does she have a sister? Can we borrow her?
Good question. I don't think so. No, I'm not sure about it.
But anyway, all right. I thought that was cool about Angela Merkel. You notice that in both the scenes when Trump met with her and when Trump met with the Pope, same little boy being schooled. Were we live when you were talking about him being on The Apprentice, looking like The Apprentice, or was that before we went live? I can't even remember. How he looks like one of the contestants on his shows, Marcus.
I'm sorry, I was just reading.
Talking about Trump on at the Pope's desk, looking like one of his contestants on the Apprentice.
Yeah, exactly.
Hilarious.
And the Pope, and if you see the Pope, there's another image which comes into my mind. It's a scene from The Godfather, you know.
Oh yeah.
When he addresses to, I don't know, the actor, and I will follow you. I will help you right now, but there will be a time when I will ask you a favor, and you know this.
Yep.
This scene.
Totally. Bev says I like Angela, and she knits too. Nice. She's already the leader of Germany and now France. Well, she's.
Nah. I don't agree here, Steve.
Freeman.
And I don't think this would go so far.
No, probably not. Don't tell President Macron. President McHillary? Yeah, I know. Trump's your uncle. Please fire me. I've been fired so many times. That's fine. Please fire my ass. We're late already. I just want to go over a few things. The Trump administration is removing things from what's left of the EPA site. Now I don't know. It's just removing a bunch of stuff. Every time it deletes, it deleted all the stuff about sea level rise. And that sea level rise is related to climate change. Somehow the sea level is just rising, has nothing to do with climate change. Ice melts. China did it. That's... It seems innocuous to us. We're like, well, we know that's bullshit. But to people like Trump's followers, we could hope that maybe some of them see on the internet, go there. But when somebody mentions climate change to them or when their house is underwater, to remove this information is disinforming the electorate, misinforming the electorate. It's lying to the electorate via omission. And an omission is still a lie, according to Spock. So, yeah, just going to say that. Anyway, unbelievable. This is like book burning, really. Removing content from people's view that the government, sea level rise. Again, if you're on the coast and you know it's happening and you're smart enough to recognize that it's climate change, I'd move if you can. If not, natural selection. in other places around the world that are not the United States of America, they do things that are, cool. This is Sweden on Airbnb. They put their whole country on it just because they can. They say, we basically have a nice, clean, happy country, and you're welcome to, here. I can't even pronounce that. It's a Swedish word that means, or the freedom to roam is a principle protected by Swedish law that gives all people the right to be free in Swedish nature. In other words, Swedish nature isn't just a piece of land with trees and lakes and cliffs. It's a home with all the necessities and amenities that any great home should have. It's a place where you can eat berries from the ground, sleep under the stars, swim in the lakes, and roam freely. To make this home available for everyone, Sweden has listed the entire country on Airbnb. And they've even got some of the places like rustic forest retreat in vintage style, and rocky island in the Stockholm archipelago. Let's see what this is like. The space accommodates everyone. Bathrooms anywhere. Bedrooms outside. Bed type natural. Beds unlimited. Check in whenever. Check out 1 or 2 days later. Room type open plan. Amenities, family and kid friendly, wild pets, infinity pools, real air conditioning, natural heating May through August. Just a few minutes outside the city of Stockholm, this archipelago starts to unfurl. It consists of nearly 30,000 islands, and Bracka is one of them. Now, Sweden's not my kind of thing because cold there. More cold there than here. Although we don't get that cold anymore. Cold there. And after watching the original version of The Girl with Dragon Tattoo, really cold there. Don't want to go there. Looks gloomy. Terrible. Although Markus says they do a lot to keep things peppy over the wintertime. And,
yes, yeah, they do. They have an exquisite lifestyle, and it is something like a new movement, or maybe it's 2 or 3 years old, and that's during the winter month. The Swedish have it at home, very comfy and comfortable, and they do a lot. They invest a lot of money and patience, and in mostly, as I read, in natural stuff, natural products.
Nice. They were like, well, we can't just sit here and be depressed. Let's make something of this. And so they have. I mean, human beings, how we do things. Meanwhile, back in the United States, this is frightening. Highway 101. That's Big Sur right there. You see the little line? That's the road along the highway, the West Coast. Highway 101, historic Big Sur, California. And that is a massive, massive mudslide. A 40-foot layer of rock and dirt that has come down and basically destroyed Highway 101 right there. I know California was all excited about the rain and all that stuff, but this is what climate change does. Not that this wouldn't happen at some point naturally, but we've sped up that process and we've caused a lot more of it to happen. That's $1 billion worth of damage right there. I don't know how we're going to pay for that. Maybe we can move all that dirt to make Trump's wall. Maybe we can pick up that dirt and just dump it on him. I don't know. That's your climate change for you. Are we down to the last 2 things? Really, we're down to the last 2 things. This one is non-serious, but it depends on your 80s knowledge. Tom Cruise has confirmed that Top Gun 2 is officially happening.
Oh my God.
I find that frightening for a number of reasons. Top Gun has gone through a number of different phases as a movie since I saw it as a kid when it first came out. And when I saw it as a kid, it was during the glory days of good old boy USA, Cold War fighting, Ronnie Reagan, just America was great, and this was the greatest movie ever. And I know I saw it many times, and I know I thought it was neat, and I know I thought for a brief moment that I wanted to be a fighter pilot, as did every other boy my age that I knew of in the whole city of Littleton, Colorado at the time. All right. And the fact that they're making a second one, when it went from that phase, later on, it became the butt of gay jokes because they were like, my God, the whole towel scene is basically like the largest gay towel scene ever, and they're just all in the closet about it. And that was before it became not cool to make fun of gay people, right? That was before all the stuff happened with the LGBTQ community. So the movie went from glory days of America to a bad joke, and now I don't even know what it is. Now it's a classic. I don't even know where it reverts to. I'm not sure why they're doing another one, although right now there is a big resurgence in this whole bullshit patriotism, which is where the right's coming from and all that. They got to go back to their knuckle dragging, dick first, that's the huddle, that's the retreat instead of the progress, right? But I just thought it was weird because I remember these different ways we treated this film as we evolved in our thinking in America. And this is just America. I have no idea. In Germany, you guys probably were like, what a dumb movie, and moved on. I don't know. Was Top Gun big over there in the 80s?
Yes, it was. I never watched it.
You never saw the movie?
No.
Oh my God.
I saw a few features which were shown on TV as an appetizer to go to the movies, but it was a big military commercial. I said, why should I waste my money on this bullshit?
Yeah, well,
even if it was aired here on TV, I didn't care. It is not my genre. There's nothing what I would like to see, and I think Tom Cruise sucks.
Well, I agree. I don't like Tom now, but it's for me, it's only 80s nostalgia and not one of my favorite things. There's some hilariousness in it, like one of the slowest sex scenes ever in the history of sex between him and Kelly McGillis, and Tom scares it. I think it's funny now. To me, I'd watch it as kind of like a silly comedy and of American. But yeah, I still remember the opening. Here's how indoctrinating you can be. I still remember the opening with the ships landing on the planes landing on the deck and the bell and the music. And I mean, that as a kid, that was give you chills kind of thing. They really set that up with the emotional play right there. I mean, let's hit you with big emotion and let's show you Go USA, big old penis extensions, and that they really knew how to play to the patriotism back then, right? It's powerful when you think about it, what can be done. That's why media is so powerful. It is the weapon of choice for an intelligent dictator. That's why Trump's spending so much money on bombs. He failed to use his propaganda machine correctly. He chose to fight it. And that has been the one greatest thing he's done for us, is fight his propaganda agency. Seriously. Anyway, Top Gun coming back. We're going to shift over to some seriousness really quick. I know this is running long, and the song that I have is really long, so if you guys need to get out of here, it's like a 7.5 minute tune, and I know it. But we've got 43 seconds of a 6-year-old who's going to bring us back down into seriousness really quick, because why do I want you to run for your government office? Why do I want you to get involved? Is so that we don't have children schooling adults on how things should be. That's why. We need to put some honor back in our government so that we don't have kids telling us on social media how shitty things are.
And all these people out here that's killing each other, we need to stop this stuff. Because they ain't going to get them nowhere. Just end up locked up. People been getting killed in stores. People been robbing people. People been killing people. People been robbing cars, jacking people for money. I'm a kid. And I'm supposed to be knowing all this stuff.
You're a smart kid.
I'm supposed to be knowing about all these guns. I know about all bad stuff. Something to know about.
No, he shouldn't.
Yep.
No.
A 6-year-old.
6 years old, and I would elect that person for many offices that are currently filled by establishment tools. He speaks better than Trump. And that was the thing. I just got to make a sideline before we get to the tune. Dan Rather, News and Guts, pushed an article that came out that actually shows, using some stat thing with the level of how you talk, the words you use and how well you can speak, some education level. And Trump has digressed. Seriously. They've analyzed speech from 10, 20, 30 years ago compared to today, and he's getting dumb fast. So that's not encouraging. Anyway, we got to replace that before we just have a idiocracy, which we have, but far worse than anything we can imagine, because idiocracy was funny. The death of the planet is not. And it all comes down to liars. And that's why I picked the end song. I don't know if you guys know who Todd Rundgren is, but those of you who are older than me may know that, or may remember him, and he had a lot of hits, 60s, 70s. They were like pop, cheesy pop these days. Hello, it's me. But he really actually has been a really prolific songwriter and experimentalist, and he's gone in very different directions with his stuff. And he pops out with these albums just like, holy shit. And this album here, Liars, came out in 2004. And it really, I didn't know who Todd Rundgren was other than a guy who had written some cheesy 70s tunes. I really didn't know him as an artist until I heard this album. The whole album is about liars and how much he dislikes liars. And there's a song in here called God Said. And if there was one set of lyrics that embodied how I feel about God, religion, people seeking that relationship and belief, my own struggles with it as a teenager who was attempting to rationalize belief in something I had zero evidence of, and I couldn't do it. And I felt the way he wrote in the lyrics. What do I need to do? What is it that I'm missing? What is it that's not right with me that I can't hear you, oh Holy One? And what I learned was it was my unwillingness to believe in something I had no proof of. And that's what belief comes down to. And it doesn't work for me. Doesn't fly for me. That's the shift. That's the big shift that we have right now happening with humanity, is the end of letting belief and those who use those beliefs to control the masses, and the shift to an aware and conscious thinking community that governs itself. That's the big battle we face right now. This song, God Said, if there is a God, gods, and they could respond to the dumb humans wondering how they can deal with their belief, how they can justify their belief. This is how it would be. And the single phrase is, just get over yourselves. Just get over yourselves. I'm going to play the song, and then I'm going to overlay the music or the lyrics, because this video doesn't have the lyrics, because I want you to read them. I want you to see them, because this is exactly how I feel. How does this tie into the revolution? This ties into the revolution. God isn't going to fix this. And our belief in God isn't going to fix this. And our belief in our systems won't fix this. Our belief in our elected officials won't fix this. The only thing that will fix what's going on right now is us taking action. That's it. We can contemplate that action, we can plan that action, we can organize that action, but until we get out of our chairs and do that action, nothing's going to fix this mess. We got to stop believing in others and put that belief right here, which is also what I believe any God would say. Stop looking to me. Look at yourself. See you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to everybody who put so many nice, kind comments in the YouTube channel. You guys have just been so kind, and I haven't had a chance to get back to them all, and I wanted to say it at the beginning. Markus, thank you for being here, my friend.
Thank you, John, and thanks to our audience, our wonderful audience. And and a reminder later today, Jeff Merkley, right, John?
Oh, yes, thank you. Merkley at 1:30.
And
yes.
then at 7 p.m. PT, Sam Ronan.
Thank you, Markus. Yes.
Bye-bye. See you there. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. And look at the cover. That's Todd, 2004. The cover kind of says it all. I told you this is really long because he does a lot of synth stuff.
so good.